brothers and sisters from far lands. Some of you took as few as 4 planes. Some of you took as many as 30 hours to get here. Some of you came from Niger, Nigeria, Namibia, Ethiopia, and many other lands. So please, a warm round of applause for each and every one of you. My name is Zuby Onwuta, and this evening I'm going to share with you how the world sees better through Think and Zoom. How the world sees better by looking through Think and Zoom. Today, I'm a disability advocate at the US Congress. I'm an innovator. I'm the patented inventor of brain control for blind assistive tech. I'm a trained software engineer. Well, where did it all begin? Well, let's get started. I was born in a place called Nigeria, not Niger. Growing up in Nigeria, I had one dream. I always wanted to be a medical doctor. I loved STEM. So, of course, I studied very hard. I was always top of the class. I loved to read. And right after high school, I got my opportunity. I won the diversity lottery program to come to the United States. I was so excited, I left in a hurry. I only took 3 things. I took my duffel bag, $200, and of course my dream. But when I got here, reality set in very quickly. I found out that I needed $200,000 to become a medical doctor in the United States. So, in order to fulfill my dream, I decided to serve the country that was giving me this great opportunity. So I joined the US Army. Right after I started pre-med. Life was simply great. You couldn't even measure the amount of joy that I had at that point. I was a young man about to fulfill my dream. But then things started going wrong. The first thing that went wrong was my eyesight. I became what is known as legally blind. The Army diagnosed me with something called Stargardt's macular dystrophy that affects the retina. And they had to let me go. And of course, my medical dreams went along the way. Now, legal blindness means that for those of you who see very well, something that you can see from 20 feet away, somebody like me, despite wearing glasses, I have to walk up to that object 1 foot away to see that. So clearly, you can't be in the military with such bad eyes. So I was thrown into depression for several months, trying to figure out what to do. And I decided to choose engineering. Okay, no problem. So we went in. We went into engineering with the information that the Stargardt, it has a particular behavior. Once you reach that 20-200 legal blindness, you plateau. No more changes. So I went in, no problem. But my, that symptoms, they never matched what the doctors told me. And so that's how I traveled through 300 different eye care professionals, going from doctor to doctor, from all over Chicagoland to Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, all over the country. Even interacted with certain doctors in London, trying to figure out what was going on with my eyes. I had fluctuations, the eyes were progressively getting worse. It was horrible. I even flunked out of school and had to come back. But at the end of it all, we found out that I had 2 additional eye problems, cone dystrophy and rod dystrophy. So that explained why, all the problems were going on. Now, if you're struggling to understand what I'm talking about, imagine if you had 1 computer virus. You know how frustrating that would be, right?
Yeah.
Now, add 2 more viruses to that. You wouldn't even know which one is acting up on what day, right? So, by the time we figured out all of these problems through genetic testing and 2 weeks at Johns Hopkins, the engineering career just got too much, and I left as well. Talk about being crushed. My medical dream, gone. Military career, dead. Engineering backup. Go. Okay. At this point, I knew I just had to do something very different. And I asked myself, how are you going to rewrite this story for a better outcome? We're not going to have a sad ending here, right? So I decided to start turning personal problems into global solutions. Based purely on all the things I've experienced from visual impairment and my passion for STEM and my love of solving problems, I decided to tackle the problem myself. And that led me to invent what I call Thinking Zoom Brainwave Solution. All it does is very simple. It detects whenever I'm struggling to see, and it magnifies to the extent that I need without me having to do anything. It taps into my brainwaves, leverages EEG, electroencephalogram, and neuroscience. That was great, right?
That's not simple.
Great. Well, how are you going to get this to the hands of people who need it? There are 20 million people in America who are severely visually impaired like myself, and about 300 worldwide. So we entered into the world of entrepreneurship. And after doing a lot of market research, found out that, okay, this thing was going to cost about $20,000 to deploy to the market. Oh, wow. Yeah, I could hear some of you like, that's a whole lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, 70% of the population in America that are visually impaired are unemployed. In South Africa, it's 98%. In Australia, it's 68%. So clearly, nobody can afford this. So I had to go back to the drawing board and I asked myself, what exactly do you want to do in this space? Well, I just want to make life better for people like myself. I want to create a world where vision impairment no longer steals dreams or kills careers like it killed my careers. I just want to create a better, brighter future for people who are visually impaired. But how do you do that? Do you wait till somebody is severely visually impaired and give them the best assistive technology to help them? Or do you actually trace it back to the origin and try to actually prevent people from becoming blind? That's a thought. Prevent. Can you actually eliminate blindness? Wow. Eliminate blindness? How do you do that? So that led me to a different venture called Think and Zoom Prediction AI, where we're leveraging games powered by artificial intelligence, and while a kid is having fun and playing a game, we're detecting and monitoring their behavior to correlate if they're having any kind of vision loss. It just so happens that what everybody thinks is an eye exam only covers only 4% of what is needed to tell you if you actually have vision problems. So that's our new venture. So we are going to detect visual impairment in little children just by them having fun and playing games on their digital devices. So that is what I mean by how the world sees better through Think and Zoom. Whether you are severely visually impaired, we'll give you a solution that easily helps you see better by thinking. Or before you even get into that pipeline, we will detect you very early and route you to correction and intervene and possibly prevent you from even going blind. Now, I'm not alone. You may have heard this story and you think it's phenomenal and innovative, right? But there are many of our brothers and sisters, in this line also doing phenomenal things. We have people like Professor Onwuta Keynote. Have you guys ever heard of him?
Not yet.
He delivered a baby twice.
What?
Exactly. The same baby twice. Let me explain. Through a sonogram, they found out that the baby was having heart problems. So he operated on the mom, operated on the baby, fixed the heart problem, put the baby back in the womb. And when the baby was full term, delivered the same baby. He was born and raised in Nigeria.
Wow.
Now all of you have come here to learn entrepreneurship. Have you ever heard about the name Clayton Christensen?
No.
He's only one of the world's most renowned business minds, and he's a very famous Harvard business professor. You should look him up. One of his books inspired Steve Jobs. You guys have heard of Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's another young man, Efoso Ajomo, my ex-roommate, went through corporate America, started a non-profit called PovertyStopsHere.org, which has raised more than $500,000, sending books, shoes, and building wells in remote areas of West Africa. And he found himself in Harvard Business School, where he graduated, was president of Harvard ABC African Business Conference. But all of that aside, he just co-authored a book with Clayton Christensen called The Poverty Paradox: How to Leverage Disruptive Innovation in Transforming Developing Countries and Providing them with Economic Development. Have you guys ever heard of BC Azarioha?
No.
He only holds some of the records in automaking lots of 800 horsepower cars that he builds. So there are so many of us, right, in this line. So now that you're here, this is your opportunity to seek these folks and network with them and leverage their connections and knowledge to further enhance where you're going. Right? Now, where do you come in? You guys have had a Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, right? Phenomenal global companies, right? So where is the next innovative company going to come out of?
Right here.
Africa, I heard that, right? Is it going to be Niger? Is it going to be Namibia?
It's gonna be
Is
all
it going to be Madagascar?
All of us.
Mozambique, Ethiopia? It's all in your hands, right? Remember, for as long as Elon's red Tesla is heading to Mars, you can no longer reach for the sky. It's no longer a limit. You have to reach beyond the stars, right?
It's just that.
You have to dream big. And for you to do that, I'm going to leave you with 3 simple steps. First, always look forward to a better, brighter future, no matter what situation you're in. The situation might be tough, challenging, but dream of a better future. Picture it, envision it. Always look towards a better, brighter future. Second step, think. How are you going to get there? You're here, what you're dreaming of is over there. Put together a map, a plan, a step-by-step guide. Think about how you're going to get there. And the third step, zoom. Do something. Act on your plan, right? By doing something, you're bringing yourself closer to your dream, you're accelerating yourself, and you're zooming towards that brighter future that you're looking for. And I urge you and challenge you that if you take these 3 steps, you too will have learned how to look, think, and zoom into a better, brighter future. Welcome to America. Welcome to Austin, Texas, home of UT Hook'em Horns. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.